Hey everyone, I'm Christine Graves, and I'm really excited to be doing this executive briefing with you. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you, so hopefully you can see it. It's about having your next role find you, why your LinkedIn headline is really quietly limiting you. All right, so let's get right to it. Just you might not have an idea of who I am. I have over 25 years of experience in recruiting and human resources. And since 2018, I've been using that expertise to help leaders, especially leaders in marketing and sales, to land their next role that's aligned with who they are, because that's really critical. But anyways, that's just who I am. Let's jump right to this. Okay. So the silent cost of backward positioning, it's really quite costly. Okay. It's very costly. And I want you to understand how much it hurts you. Okay. But even before that, I did want to say a few more things about under this title slide that I have. Okay. So most of you are very accomplished and you're not underqualified. Okay. You are underpositioned. That's the issue. Okay. And nowhere is that more visible than in your LinkedIn headline, right? If your headline mirrors your current title, you're signaling who you were hired to be, not the level that you're ready to operate at next. So the market, it doesn't infer evolution, it categorizes, and categorization determines the opportunities that you get exposed to. So, and today is about rewriting your headline. So it's giving you the information so you can really rewrite it and make it more powerful. It's about understanding why the right conversations are not happening. And yeah, so now let's talk about the silent cost of backward positioning. So when your positioning is backward facing, you attract lateral roles, you receive recruiter outreach below your level, you're invisible to retained search, you're not perceived as succession ready. Okay, so is this happening to you right now? And here's the part that most leaders never really see. You don't know which rooms you were never considered for. That is the real cost, not rejection, but exclusion. Now, I hear this constantly from people. I've polished up my LinkedIn profile or I've rewrote it or whatever. Well, polish doesn't create leverage often, right? Many of you, if you thought you polished your LinkedIn profile, it probably hasn't created the leverage that you're looking for. So you can have a professionally written resume and a polished LinkedIn and impressive logos and strong metrics and still have a quiet inbox because polish is surface and positioning drives economics. The market rewards perceived future value, not historical accuracy. Okay, so think about that. The identity gap. What's this about? So really it comes down to who you were hired to be versus who you're ready to become. Your headline sits at the intersection of identity and market perception. If those are misaligned, traction slows. Most executives evolve internally long before their positioning reflects it. And your strategic thinking expands, your scope deepens, your mandate increases, but your headline still summarizes a role. That gap creates friction, and friction delays opportunity. So here's my clarity matrix. And I love pictures, so this should help you to understand. And this is something I recently developed, so it's new to many of my clients, but this is what I've been doing all these years, and I finally put it together in this clarity matrix. So it measures two variables: depth of experience. So think of that as operating depth on the left-hand side, and then clarity of market signal, okay, or market signal strength as we have on the chart. So most of you are in that credible quadrant that you see, okay? So you have high experience and you have low signal alignment, okay? So that's the credible quadrant, okay? Credible earns respect, but it doesn't create that inevitability, All right. When experience and signal align, that's when you move into that inevitable quadrant. That's where you really want to be. That's where the inbound shifts, and that's where confidential conversations begin. And that's where your next role starts finding you. So that it's all about getting you into that inevitable quadrant, okay, where both your market signal and your operational, your depth of experience, those are really aligned, okay? So three shifts that move you to credible to inevitable. So this is how, this is what needs to be done, okay, and how you do it. So if you're sitting in the credible quadrant, these are the three things that have to shift. So number one, and I just summarize all three of these very briefly in these few words, just so you can get it. Number one, your headline has to stop summarizing your title and start signaling where you're going. Okay. Not buzzwords, not inflation, but like value, economic value provided. Okay. When your signal reflects where you're operating next, categorization changes immediately. Okay. Number two, your language must move from task description to mandate ownership. Okay. So think of it in terms of not being like a job description, but what have you owned? What have you led as a leader? Okay. What have you really owned? Because that's what leadership is about, right? Being accountable. So yeah, so again, candidates describe responsibilities, peers signal authority. Okay, so you really want to signal your authority. Okay, so when your profile reflects your ownership of growth and transformation or strategy, you're evaluated differently. Okay, it's a subtle shift for sure. Number three, you must build traction without exposure. Now, this is more specific to those people who are currently working right now, wanting to find their next role, okay? Because you don't want to look like you're looking. All right, many of you don't want to look like you're looking. So you need to build traction without exposure. And it doesn't require daily posting, and it does not require public searching. It requires discrete alignment between your profile, your connection strategy, and your signal, right? So when those are aligned, leverage builds quietly. So when the signal and market align, when positioning reflects who you are becoming, you're going to be evaluated differently, you'll be introduced differently, and you'll be compensated differently. Think of it this way: you're moving from applicant to operator, from an option to an asset, okay? From credible to succession track. The shift is structural, it's not cosmetic. Let's see. Most of my clients, I mean, I definitely have clients where their full-time job is their job search, but more and more I'm working with people who are still employed. So they're not looking, they're positioning. Looking is reactive. So you want to avoid having to look for a job and being in reactive mode. Positioning really builds leverage before urgency. Okay. Leverage shifts power. So empower determines your options. Okay. So definitely want to keep that in mind. Okay. So again, this is all about shifting from credible to inevitable. All right. So I gave you the three things that need to change. Okay. What those are. And you could certainly work on those yourself. So I think you're very, very skilled. I mean, you wouldn't be at your level right now if you weren't really good at what you do and you weren't a very intelligent person. But this is my area of expertise. So if you recognize yourself today in that credible quadrant, if you know your experience is not the issue, and if you suspect that your signal may be costing you access that you never see, then I am opening 5 career strategy sessions. So I'm opening 5 of those. The first 5 people that grab those from this training will get them as a gift, as my gift. The other condition is you do need to be a first degree connection, but as long as you just, I would say, book it right away. You would need to book it on my schedule right away. And it's okay. I book out very quickly. So as long as you just book, you take action and you book it, you get a time on the calendar for as soon as possible that fits with your calendar and mine, then I will give it to you. So because typically the investment for the career strategy is $150. But if you're one of the first 5 people who do that, who schedule it, then I will go ahead and give that to you. Okay. But yes, you need to, I'm not going to be doing this for forever. So if you feel that this is an issue for you, I want to encourage you to do one of these career strategy calls with me. And we'll definitely talk about your career signal calibration, and how what needs to be done. Exactly. What needs to be done from credible to get to inevitable. Okay. So anyway, so that's important. So in this call, it will be a 60-minute call. And this is what we'll do specifically, just so you know, where you sit inside the clarity matrix. So that's what we'll go over, how your current headline is categorizing you. So we'll do that. And whether your signal is expanding or narrowing your options. Okay. Because we want you to have as many relevant options as possible, but just really making sure that we identify those 3 things for you. So again, where do you sit inside the clarity matrix? How your current headline is categorizing you, and whether that signal is expanding or narrowing your options. All right. So we'll look at your specific situation. And again, I will be giving this to the first 5 people who schedule it, because again, I know it's been challenging for many leaders to land in this job market. And I want to give you some options that are going to help you and help pay it forward. So, but please keep in mind, it's not a resume review. It is a leveraged conversation. So it's really about, if you want to build positioning before urgency forces movement, use the link below. Okay. I'm going to drop it in the chat. So that way, again, I'll be dropping my calendar link in the chat. So that way you could do that. And and then we'll do that. So, but just keep in mind, the cost of mispositioning is rarely visible in real time. So it's, how can you really measure it? It compounds quietly over time. It's kind of like, how powerful it is when you start saving for a child when they're a baby. You have that power of compounding over time, and it's the same thing, little things consistently done over time. And when you're consistently missing out on opportunities, it compounds quietly. So it may not make a difference one day, but over a period of time, it can really hurt you. Leverage is built long before you need it. And if your next role should find you, your signal must recognize you first. So that's really critical as well. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take my screen share off. And then I need to make sure that I grab the link for you, because I thought I had it. So I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat. Again, as I was saying, my calendar does fill up pretty quickly. However, even so, if you see on my availability that you won't be able to get in with me for like the next couple of weeks, but you have availability in the next week, let me know. You can send me a DM and we can try to get you on the schedule sooner, because I do have some hidden blocks of time in my calendar, and we might be able to find something that works for you. So anyway, but number one, You don't get the gift unless you are a first degree connection. So I do want to stress that. So if we're not first degree connections, it's really easy to fix that. All you have to do is send me an invite. Okay. And I would encourage you, anytime you send someone an invite, just try to tailor the message briefly. So that way you stand out more. That's always a good thing to do. Good best practice. So anyway, so I just dropped my calendar link in the chat. So you have that. Okay. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So this was actually, I'm coming in less than 20 minutes. So this is really good. I wanted to make sure that I had covered all of my material and just double checking my notes. I actually may go back to the one slide because that really is the key too. So I think I just want to wrap that up as well. So here we go. It was my slide. And it was after the clarity matrix. Yes. So sorry about that. I just want to make sure because this is the key. No, I can't share it for some reason. Here we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So it was actually this slide. All right. So I'm going to go back into presentation mode just so it's better for you. So yeah. So again, these are the 3 shifts that move you from credible to inevitable. All right. So again, not having a headline that's so focused on the past, being more future thinking. Okay. You have to stop summarizing your title and start signaling what your trajectory is. Okay. So really doing that and being focused on the value that you provide. So, because again, you want your signal to reflect where you are operating next. And when you do that, your categorization, sorry, I can talk really, changes immediately. All right. And then for a second, I mean, again, you want to make sure that you're not talking in like job description language, but you're really talking about what you've owned. All right. Your leadership, your ownership of growth, transformation, strategy, because that you'll be evaluated differently. Okay. So again, ownership, focusing on what you owned. And lastly, and this third point again is more for those who are looking for their next job while they're currently employed. So again, you don't want to look like you're looking. You don't want to put your current job at risk. So, and this is all about building traction without exposure. So instead of exposure, you're really focused on alignment. So, and it's not daily posting for you. It's not public searching. It's really making sure that you have the alignment between your profile, your connection strategy, and what you are signaling. Okay. Because when those align, then the leverage will build. So yeah. So again, wanted to close on that. And then my calendar link is in the chat. And be one of those first 5 people to take advantage of that career strategy call that I'm gifting to the first 5. And if you're not one of the first 5, I still think $150 is a pretty good investment to make in terms of really having to move from that one quadrant to the inevitable quadrant, because that's where you want to go. So anyway, thank you so much. And we look forward to getting your feedback on this. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And then, yeah, we look forward to hearing your feedback on this training. Hopefully you found it helpful. Take care.